What is up, guys? It's your boy Encore. What is up, guys? It's your boy Encore. And today, that was a great joke, we got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, revealing official information. And so, let's get started. And first things first, what's going on this week for Destiny 2? Well, really not much, other than the continuation of Iron Banner, and that's because Episode Echoes came to a close last week. So we had the final story mission along with an epilogue mission, we had the final exotic catalyst for your Choir of One, the 10th anniversary in-game event. Actually, quite a lot happened last week, so if you're out of the loop, I'll link that news video right up above. But as for this week, we're actually looking ahead at Episode 2 Revenant. So moving on to the brand new information within the TWAB, here's what Bungie says. First of all, they have the save the date for the next big dev insight. They say on Wednesday, September 25th, we will have a new article delivered directly by the Destiny 2 developers and focused on answering some questions that you all have about Codename Frontiers, which is the new content model they have coming in 2025. So I'm very interested to see what is revealed next week, and of course your boy will have a full video breaking down that article as soon as possible. Now moving on from there, the next topic is upcoming rewards changes for the upcoming episode Revenant launching on October 8th. So first of all, they say the economy team is here with some updates focused on Nightfalls and Lost Sector rewards. They say first, the drop chances for non-adept weapons have been increased in Advanced, Expert, and Master Nightfalls when earning Platinum and Gold tier upon completion. With this change, non-adept Nightfall weapons are now guaranteed to drop when completing a Platinum run in a Master Nightfall. Finally, and a 50% chance to drop if it's a gold completion. They say in addition, adept weapon drops from Grandmaster Nightfalls have been slightly increased when getting gold completions, although platinum remains the best course of action for getting them. Specifically, they move on to Nightfall focusing. They say Zavala's focus decoding has also received a minor update in regard to Nightfall weapons. The weekly featured Nightfall weapon and the adept version of said weapon have been moved to a new featured category with updated costs. So the weekly featured Nightfall weapon is 1 Vanguard engram and 1 Nightfall cipher, and the weekly featured adept Nightfall weapon is 1 Vanguard engram, 50,000 Glimmer, and 10 Nightfall ciphers. Now, moving on from there, they get into the Lost Sector reward changes. They say, finally, starting in Revenant, the Whirlpool weapons will be farmable in Lost Sectors the very season they're added into the game. Previously, players had to wait until the next season or episode launch to obtain them this way. The Lost Sector availability will continue to rotate daily, with the table below showing the rotation for Revenant. So here's what the Lost Sector farmable world drop weapons are going to be. So group 1, you have a brand new one with Redacted, then you have the MG4, Truth Teller, and the Rossarago, Unreal for Gear Falcons builds. Moving on from there, we have a brand new one in group 2, then we have the, I'm just going to show it to you guys can see group 2, then there's a group 3 right here, Crux Termination in group 3, that's a big deal, one of the best rocket launchers in the game, and then group 4 right here. So each one of these groups will have one brand new weapon, and that does mean we have 4 new weapons entering the world drop pool next episode. Moving on from there, guys, Bungie talks about power band increasing in the next episode. So this is from their power systems experts, apparently. So they say, hey, with the final shape, we introduced a wonderful feature called Fireteam Power, with the goal of making it so friends could always play together no matter what their power levels are. We've been happy with Fireteam Power and how it's removed the power barrier that was previously preventing players of different engagement levels from playing together. With this improvement in place, we've revised some of our previous decisions that sought to achieve the same goal, namely power band increases. Before the Nightfall expansion, increasing power caps by 10 each season provided new goals for endgame players to aspire to and added value to completing pinnacle activities such as raids and dungeons. Fireteam power will still be there so friends can always play together, even if some of those players choose not to pursue the new power caps, but starting October 8th with Revenant, and again in the next episode, we'll once more be increasing the power caps by 10 to return that pursuit to endgame players. The resulting power bands of Revenant will be, so the power floor is 1900, soft cap 1950, powerful cap 2000, and the new hard cap / the pinnacle cap is 2010. Now this is somewhat important because remember on October 11th, the brand new dungeon will be launching, and it will be launching with a contest mode. So it's going to be interesting to see what the minimum required power for that dungeon will be. Generally, when we get contest modes on raids, you actually don't need to level up that much because the contest mode puts you below the max power. Will it be the same on dungeons? Well, we don't actually know because there's never been contest mode, on a dungeon before. Moving on from there, guys, they talk about Titans Week in Destiny. Okay, so they say last but not least, our sandbox team has a hefty update on abilities with a focus on Titans. But remember, all of our Guardians are perfect and equally loved, whether they should wear pads the size of a stadium, and they move on to what they've changed. As a Titan main myself, oh boy, here we go. So they say, they're here with a preview of what to expect with the launch of Revenant. It's been a minute since our last article back in May, and since then we've seen the launch of the Prismatic subclasses, which seismically shifted the sandbox landscape. So now that the Prismatic subclasses have had time to settle, they're making some adjustments. So they're going to focus on today the Titan class identity reinforcement, super ability changes, and the general ability tuning. So first of all, for Unbreakable Will, they say Titans are bulwarks of their fire team. They live and die on the front lines of battle. They say, we've heard your cries for more depth to Titan gameplay and more viability in high-tier endgame content, and we agree with you. Titans have so much more to give than just blunt force trauma. Like right now, that's true. The main Titan build is going to be the Consecration Prismatic, Titan melee build. I really like the Grenadier build, but the Consecration build is just absurd, and that's what most people are running. So they say, starting with Revenant, we're testing a change to barricades and other shields that will give the Titan a more traditional tank role. Titan Barricade now taunts enemies in front of the barricade. This taunt only occurs when there is a player standing behind the barricade. Wow, this is crazy. They say this is a substantial change for Titans and for Destiny. For the first time, Titan players can use their defensive abilities to draw enemy fire, thereby shielding their fire team from harm. The Titan's Unbreakable Shield and the Sentinel Shield's Guard also taunt enemies, allowing you to become a mobile aggro magnet. If this change plays well, we're hoping to add this functionality to more of the Titan's defensive abilities, such as Ward of Dawn in the future. This is a crazy change, right? Like now, you can potentially pop your barricade, distract enemies where another teammate goes in for the revive. Like being able to mess with combatant AI and get that taunt, like that really could change gameplay, and it's going to make barricades, because remember, if you're playing Prismatic, you also get that arc dash. This is going to make barricades shoot up in value. Like, why would you ever use the dash if you can now taunt enemies with barricades? Huge change. Moving on from there, they also say to support the Titan's new aggro lifestyle, we've made some adjustments to Barricades and Unbreakable. So Towering Barricade and Rally Barricade, for all subclasses, they've reduced non-boss combatant damage dealt to the barricade by 50%, so it's going to be significantly tankier. They've increased splash damage reduction from combatants to players behind the barricade from 20% to 60%. Barricades now grant moderate damage resistance versus combatants during the cast animation. And for Unbreakable, the damage blocked by Unbreakable now generates grenade energy. That's really interesting. They've increased the max duration the shield can be held. Forward movement speed now slows down briefly when the shield is shot, and they've reduced Unbreakable's throw attack damage versus players by 20%, bit of a nerf there, but they've increased the damage bleed through from players by 15%, and fully charged unbreakable attacks will now one-shot barricades in PvP, except when the barricade is under the effects of Heart of Inmost Light. Wow. Now, continuing from there, we have even more changes. They say, while we're here on Unbreakable Titans, we should mention Void Overshield. This is a staple of the Sentinel kit, and we think it could use a little help in PvE to better compete with other damage mitigation options. So, they've increased Void Overshield PvE damage resistance from 50% to 70%. This increases maximum effective HP from 90 to 150. This is huge, and this will now potentially make people switch off of Woven Mail. Woven Mail is the GOAT for damage resistance right now, but now you're going to have to definitely consider, rocking with some Void Overshields. Moving on from there, they say the next top is the Prismatic Titan. Titans will inherit all applicable changes to Barricade, Unbreakable, and Sentinel Shield. We're also buffing other Titan abilities featured with Prismatic. So first of all, for Consecration, as if it could get any better, they say the Scorch and Slam waves now shatter stasis crystals for a bit more synergy. For the Diamond Lance, thrown or slammed Diamond Lances will now shatter stasis crystals. Slamming a Diamond Lance will grant you and nearby allies 2 stacks of Frost Armor. Changed the weapon tray HUD to display how many seconds are remaining before the Diamond Lance disappears, like a Tangle. And we also have Knockout. Melee kills now cancel health and shield stun in addition to healing, allowing you to immediately start regenerating. Note, this is a revert of a previous nerf that had too much of a negative impact in PvE. Wow. And if that wasn't enough, guys, for Shiver Strike, it now attaches a stasis explosive to the target on impact. This detonation slows players and freezes combatants, now refunds 80% melee energy on a whiff, and increased energy recharge rate by 12.5%. Immediately after landing a Shiver Strike attack, the attacker's melee ability is now suppressed for 0.5 seconds. Wow. Then they say, while not specifically a Prismatic Titan only option, we know that they felt the nerf most when Facet of Command's cooldown was moved to 11 seconds. We agree that 11 seconds is too long, so for Facet of Command / Echo of Domineering, they've reduced the cooldown from 11 seconds down to 4 seconds. And then lastly, they say, alas, the Titan buff train approaches its final destination. So for the Titan Unpowered Melee, they've increased damage against players by 5%, increased damage against PvE combatants by 20%, and increased the stun multiplier, which is going to just improve the chance of the Titan base melee stunning enemy combatants, right? Where they recoil back and they don't shoot you. Wow, so, as a Titan main, this is crazy. It's like almost all buffs, except for the one reducing Unbreakable's throw damage versus players. So this is going to massively improve your Titan's power moving into Episode 2 Revenant. But if you're a Warlock, or you're a Hunter main, and you're going, oh man, I feel left out, well, we got some changes and some massive buffs for you guys too. So they move on to the Warlocks. They say, we want super abilities to feel like the ultimate expression of a Guardian's power. So for the Warlock, Storm Trance, they've increased damage resistance from 53 to 58% when you're in Storm Trance. For Chaos Reach, they've increased damage resistance from 45% to 55% when you're casting it. They fixed an issue where it would not jolt at high frame rates, and they fixed an issue where it would not go through the Sentinel Shield or a Titan's Barricade. And then for Nova Warp, increased PvE damage by 20%, and the resistance when you're casting from 51 to 58, and any Nova Warp detonation applies volatile regardless of the charge duration. Wow. But then for the Hunter, for Golden Gun, the Marksman, and Deadshot Golden Guns, they've increased the damage against base, elite, and mini-boss combatants by 30%. Everything other than bosses. So you're going to be getting those one-shots a lot more often. For Spectral Blades, they've increased PvE damage by 20%, and they've increased damage resistance from 47 to 58%. Then for Titan, for Glacial Quake, Howl of the Storm can be used while Glacial Quake is active. For Twilight Arsenal, Thrown axe projectiles now more consistently track, thank God, and they've increased the axe relic weapon damage by 23%. Then for Thunder Crash, increase the base detonation damage by 33%. Whoa, do we got a Curasa the Falling Star meta coming up with that change? After that, for Fist of Havoc, they've increased damage resistance from 51% to 58%, changed how the light attack works under the hood to improve consistency hitting targets, and slightly increased light attack lunge range and ability to target enemies vertically. Wow. So, they say for Act 2 of Revenant, we're investigating increasing roaming super uptime so they're more often available when you need them. Stay tuned for that. Whew, okay, so now that makes me worried for PvP, but certainly for PvE, people don't often use roaming supers. It's actually a lot more valuable to get your quick super like a Nova Bomb, like the new Twilight Arsenal, like something off right away, and then get right back to using your weapons. So in that case, you know, you're going to have really powerful roaming supers to warrant that over a quick super burst of damage back to DPSing with your weapons. Moving on from there, they say Space Lightning and Sharp Knives. For both Stormcallers and Prismatic Warlocks, we wanted to increase the usability of Lightning Surge. To support this, we're making 2 changes to it. So for Lightning Surge, the Warlock casting Lightning Surge now has 50% damage resistance versus Titan Barricades during the lunge. And casting Lightning Surge now makes you amplified. Wow. That's actually huge. Really easy way to become amplified right there. Also, they say since the launch of the file shape, Prismatic Hunter has been both a highly used and highly effective subclass according to their data. We've made some PvP focused changes, but we have even more changes announced today. So for the Hailfire Spike Prismatic Grenade, added projectile tracking and aim assist to increase consistency in hitting targets. That's actually really nice. For the Threaded Spectre, increase detonation damage against PvE combatants by 33%. And for the Swarm Grenade, the Swarm Grenade submunitions are now easier to for players to shoot down, and the Swarm Grenade submunitions can now chain detonate other submunitions when destroyed. On the PvE side, for Combination Blow, they've rescaled healing from a flat 80 HP per kill to 100 to 80 to 60 to 40 per kill based on stack count. So when you're chaining off, you're going to actually be healing less and less and less. And no longer clears health and shield stun on kill. And they've removed the 1.5 second internal cooldown on healing. So a bit of a nerf, like getting less health when you're chaining off, but also a massive buff because now you don't have to wait 1.5 seconds between heals. So overall, I would say that's probably a buff. And wow, those are a lot of changes and some pretty big changes. Build crafting is about to go wild in Revenant due to a lot of these. Now, moving on from there, guys, they have the Nerf Ace of Spades early access if you want to buy it. And I want to point your attention to the very bottom. They also want to acknowledge Tofu Rabbit for making this design. There's a kind of a kerfuffle where this design was kind of stolen, like certain elements, scratches and stuff were stolen from a community member who made this design for fans and then didn't get credit. So Bungie did credit them and it seems to be all good now, but it was kind of a little bit of Twitter drama there involving that. Moving on from there, they have Destiny's first art show and some information there. You can see some pictures of it if you want to check out the TWAB, which of course is linked in the description down below. They also mention that the San Diego TwitchCon is taking place September 20th to the 22nd. Bungie's going to be there in person, and they have this awesome emblem up for grabs. But they also say we've got another Bungie bounty for good coming up soon. If you join their Twitch channel on Wednesday, September 25th at 10 a.m. Pacific, you have the chance to get this awesome emblem. And they also released 10 years of Orbit music. So on the official Destiny 2 YouTube channel, you can just listen to all the Orbit music from across 10 years of Destiny and Destiny 2. Guys, that is going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.